Let me speak about a situation. What is the first problem which we have discussed? Right? Adding items to run list when many nodes are available is painful. Right? This was our first statement. And my second statement was ensuring changes apply to only few nodes out of all should be possible. I think you relate to these situations which you have spoken yesterday, right? Yeah. So first thing is I have many nodes to be worked on, and managing run list and maintaining changes for every run list is difficult. And for that we have said that we would be using something called as role. And then ensuring that only specific node or a specific cookbook is applied to a node. We are managing it using something called as environments. Right? So are we clear on this? Yeah. How to do this? Let us start the basic theory behind it. Okay. And let me add one more stuff. We were adding, I'll be calling it as values to attributes. Yes. So for something like default of lamp of package underscore name equal to Apache 2 or something like that. Right? So you are doing this. So where can I change these values? Because there is no point in having attributes if you cannot change them. Right? As of now, we know only one way of changing, that is going to the attributes file default.rb and change its value. Okay. Now I am going to tell you that there are actually 4 places where you can change the value. 4 places where you can change the value of the attribute. The first one is recipe. In the recipe, you can have a value of an attribute. Second one is attribute file. The third one is environment, and the fourth one is role. So whatever value which you have been defining in attributes can be changed at 4 places. Am I clear on this? Yeah. So we have roles, we have environments. Roles have their own purposes, environments have their own purposes, but we can still change the attribute values over. That's not it. This is just half of the story. We have something more to be added. All right. So apart from the places, whenever we define attributes or define a value, there is something called as attribute type. We have attribute type, and one attribute type which we have been using till now is default. So apart from default, there are some more attribute types, right? And basically, we have attribute types, we have places where we can define attributes. So there are approximately 4 to 5 places, 4 to 5 attribute types, and 4 to 5 places where you can define attributes. Now, if you have these many combinations, it will be difficult. Yes or no? So I have attribute types, right? The attribute types, if I have to write them, okay, they are default, uh, default underscore override, normal, and there was something else, force, I think. If I'm not wrong, it is force. Let me cross check. Attribute, precedence, and yeah, we have force, or basically these are the things: default, force underscore default override force underscore override. I think I have messed it over here. So it is not default underscore override. It is force underscore default override and then force underscore override, and then we have one more thing which is called as. So if I have to tell an attribute has the following types: default, default and force underscore default, normal, override, force underscore override, and then automatic. And apart from this, we have 4 places where you can define the variable values. For example, all these days you are writing something like default of package name, but now I can tell you that you can write force underscore default of package name. I can tell you that you can write normal under normal of. So these are all the types, all right, and those are the places. Do we have many combinations now? Yes. So what Chef tries to tell is, for every combination I will give you a weight. I'll give you a weight. There will be some number associated with it, right? So for example, let us assume that I have a variable called as this default underscore package underscore name. Okay, this I have written in a attribute file. Now I open my environment file, and in the environment file also I'll write default underscore default of package underscore name. Over here I give HTTPD, and over here I give Apache 2. So if you see, we have the same attribute defined with 2 different values, right? And a attribute at any moment can have only one value. Now what we need to find out is which will be applied, whether the thing in the attribute will be applied or whether the thing in the environment will be applied. So this situation arises when you have the same attribute defined at multiple places. If you have different attributes, as an attribute pair, for example, you have something called as default of package underscore name, and in somewhere place you have defined default of package underscore name underscore my. So you are speaking about altogether a different variable. In that case, there is no problem, right? But if you have same variable defined at multiple different places, so what happens, right? For that, what Chef tells is, I strictly have some sort of a table over here. Where is it? Are you seeing some numbers around? So if you have an attribute file, and in that if you have written default, what is the weight for it? 1. And if you try to define the attribute value in a recipe file, its weight is. So whenever you have 2 variables with the same name in this, whatever is the larger value will win, right? If it is in the environment, the value is 3. If it is in the role, the value is 4. And are you seeing weights? Yeah, you can use basically all the stuff till here, right? But automatic is something which you don't have control on. Automatic is something which is owned by Chef. You and me cannot put any variables type as automatic. Remember, we executed something called as ohai, right? While we execute ohai, we got too many values, and those values type is ohai. Because when we execute ohai, what is that we got? Remember, we have written this node of platform, right? And node of platform will get to know what is the operating system's value. That is what we have been. So this is an attribute, right? So at some place it might have been defined as if I write something like default of platform is equal to, even though it is an Apache machine, I'll put it as Red Hat. So in that case, should Chef allow or shouldn't allow? It should not allow. So whatever it does is, whenever you are trying to accept any values from ohai, the default type of it is automatic, which means that it is obviously having the highest priority possible. So any values which ohai is returning, you cannot change them. Remember, when we executed ohai, we got too much of list saying that what is the free memory, what is the RAM, how many network cards do you have. These are all the system details. And if someone tries to mess up with that, it should not allow. So for that, they have this extreme data type, which is extreme type, which is automatic. And you and me cannot write automatic at any place. If you see, you cannot write automatic in attribute file, You cannot write automatic in recipe, you cannot write automatic in environment, and you cannot write automatic in role. Only chef has a right over it, right? So automatic is ruled out. We cannot do anything over there. Now let us see. Anything with force underscore cannot be written in environments and roles. Are you seeing any numbers for force underscore in environment and roles? No. Right? So these are all the weights, and these weights come into play whenever you have an attribute, same attribute defined at multiple places, right? If the attribute is not same, you are speaking about different attributes, then there is no conflict at all. Then there is no need for a table. Let us assume that you have written an attribute and you have written something like default of package name equal to Apache 2, and there is no conflicting variable at any place. So it will pick up whatever you have written. But whenever there is a conflict, what should it pick up? That's the whole idea around it. Am I clear on this? Yes. So for any attribute which we define, what are the possibilities which we have? One is place where you define it. Okay, and we have four possibilities. What are they? One is attribute file, the other one is in the recipe, the third one is environment, and the fourth one is role. And for every attribute which you define, you will have something called as type. And what are the possibilities? We have default, force underscore default, normal, override, force underscore override. Anything with underscore override cannot be used in environments and roles, right? And then there is something called as automatic, and automatic also something which you and me cannot define. Am I clear on this? Okay. Now, before we get into the roles, we need to understand something like what happens when you execute chef client. We have been executing this, if you remember. We execute something like sudo chef client on the node to do bootstrapping. So in this case, what happens is there is something called as node object. What is a node object? Is an object with all the values from Ohai and the attributes which you are defining will be reset, which means it will be emptied. But there is one exclusion over here. If you have any variables which are defined with the type as normal, they will not be reset. Apart from normal, all the other variable values will be reset. That means they will be emptied. Okay, and what happens is Ohai will be executed again, and whenever Ohai executes, what happens? You get a new set of values, and these new set of values are filled in that node object, right? And while filling that in the node object, there might be some cases where you have the same attribute defined at multiple places. In that case, we have just now looked into a table, right? The attribute precedence comes into play, and then whatever has the highest weight will be applied into the node object, and this node object will be maintained at the client and will be sent back to the server, and your server will maintain the whole list of your node object as something called as attributes. Remember, whenever we selected any nodes, there was an attribute list over here. Then attribute list is nothing but a node object, complete node object with all possible values, right? This might sound theoretical, but I think I've tried to minimize the efforts over here. Let me see. Quality thought.in. I'm not sure where it is. Okay, so this is a flow chart. This will try to tell you what happens when the chef client runs. All the attributes will be run. Chef client will be tried to rebuild the activity because Ohai will get the new values. Then chef client uses that attribute precedence table, and then attributes will be merged. They'll be sent back to the server, right? And apart from that, here these are the attribute types. What does the default mean? What does the force underscore default mean? The same thing whatever we have discussed in the table. This is for easily organizing the data, and this is a precedence table, the same precedence table which we have seen just now, right? So whenever you look into this, if you are finding it difficult to understand, just look at this flowchart. This flowchart will tell you what are the sequence of actions that happen when a chef client is executed with respect to attributes. Am I clear on this? Yeah. So Now the attributes which we were writing all these days as default, now do you have an answer? Yes or no? What are the other things which we can define now? We can write default, we can write force underscore default, we can write normal, I can write override, I can write force underscore override. Everything whenever I apply will have some weight to it, right? That's the whole point, right? But Chef recommends usage of default. Don't even think of something else, stick to default. But those are all extreme conditions, right? Whenever you have extreme conditions, then you go for those values. I have not seen anyone using above normal. I've not seen anyone using above normal, but there might be certain cases or certain exclusions where you might require it. But this is how the attribute precedence works, right? So am I clear on this? Yeah. Okay. So environments, roles, attributes, recipes, 4 places for defining variables. Yeah. But it is often a best idea to define them only in attribute files, only in the cases whenever you want to change the value. That's the point where you use the environments and roles, right? Okay. Now let us get into the next best thing. Chef, environments and roles. I don't want to get into this nonsense, but before that, let me get into the C drive. DevOps, we had Chef, yeah, Chef repo, and I'll try to open my PowerShell. If you're on a Linux machine, try to log in into that path using your shell. Okay. Let us look at some knife commands. We might need them now. So the first command which I want to execute is knife node list. And at any moment, if you want anything, always use this. He will try to tell you what are the possibilities which you can do with knife. Yeah, we might not use all the possibilities, but when there is a chance, you should be able to work on it. So that's why we go with this route. Are you seeing? There is something called as knife subcommand, and you will have options, right? And it is trying to fetch you what are the available subcommands. So if you want that, you can execute knife subcommand hyphen hyphen help. Right? It is taking time. If you remember, we have executed already one subcommand called as knife bootstrap. So those are all the subcommands, and there is no way on earth that you are going to remember everything. So that's why I always use this option. So what is that I'm interested in right now? Knife node hyphen hyphen. So knife, my subcommand is node, and I'm trying to see what are the possibilities in the node. You can create environments and roles from the UI also, but we'll be doing it from CLI. The reason why we do it from CLI is because I want a version control on my nodes, on my environments. If I do it from the UI, and if I want to change any environment, I might miss my older change. But if I write it in a file and if I put it in a Git, and whenever a new change comes, I might have a new version altogether. So I'm not losing any of my changes. That's the reason why I write it in a file. Okay. So what is it trying to tell? There is something called as knife node create, knife node delete, knife node edit, knife node environment, set node environment. All right. Every node has an environment, right? And if you want to set that, you can use it. And then knife node from file, knife policy, knife run list add, run list remove, run list set node entries, show node status. You have too many commands. And these are all the commands which you see in the UI already. In the UI, you just play around, click on that, you get to see the options. Right. But I have two nodes which I don't want to. So let me 1 second. Let me also look at the options. Right. Knife node, right? Is there anything called as list? This is the first thing which I'm going to execute to find out what are my nodes. So knife node list. For the sake of it, what I'll do is I'll copy these commands in a notepad plus plus so that it is easier for me. Yeah. Okay, just I'll put it for reference. Whenever I want to do any activity, I'll try to basically use hyphen hyphen help. Knife node list. If you try to execute this command out of chef repo, you'll not get any answers. I think we know that. Yeah. And if you want to see all the options that are possible in list, you can always use knife node list hyphen hyphen help, so that you come to know all the possible options. So it is trying to tell that you have. And now I want to delete them because those nodes are no longer available. There is no point in having those nodes. So the things which I can do is I can just say knife node delete and give the node's name, or I can go with this bulk delete option. All right. Whenever I'm going with bulk delete, I need to know regular expressions, the stars and all other stuff. All right. And whenever I'm going with delete nodes, I have to be specific about what is the node which I'm trying to delete. And you can use anything. All right. So knife node bulk delete star dot compute dot internal. Let us see what happens. Or you can give individual names. Knife node delete and then give the individual name of the node. Okay. It's saying that it is not specified. Okay. Let me try one more thing. Let me try this. You can search for a regular expression which tries to sell ends with. So we are looking at a node which ends with compute dot internal. Okay, not working. So what is that I have messed up? I think I've given it right. Slash is an escape sequence, kada. I am not using any invalid character to really give an escape sequence. Let me do the one wonderful thing. To my knowledge, star means all in regular expression. Yeah. Ah, I'm not getting into this nonsense, man. You just Google it. I'll go with this stuff. Knife, node, knife, node, delete. You can look into Google. I might be doing something wrongly over here. Yeah. Delete. No node is matching the expression cookbooks. Where is that I have written cookbooks? Yeah. It is asking, do you want to really remove this? Yeah. Yes. Okay. And now I remove the knife, node, delete. Now, if you execute after this knife node delete, you should get an empty list. That's the whole point. Right? Similarly, you have knife cookbook list, knife role list, knife environment list, so that you can manage all of your roles and environments. Okay, right? So we know about knife bootstrap already. So knife bootstrap hyphen f1 help you just do, and you will come to know what is the command which you have used. Right now, what I want to do is I want to create an environment first, right? And a role. So before I do that, I want to upload some cookbooks, right? So let me just look at this knife cookbook hyphen help. Let us see what are the cookbooks. If I want to see the list of cookbooks, is there some command which will help me out? How do I upload if the cookbook is frozen? What do you mean by frozen? Version. Change the version number, right? That is 10. You have watched 10 Commandments movie by any chance? The Oscar winning movie. There are 10 rules which you have to obviously follow, right? Even in Chef, we have some rules. Whenever you make any changes, definitely change the version number. Is there any workaround? Yes, there is a workaround. You can use knife cookbook upload, but you are messing your chances. Never ever use knife cookbook upload command. I think you see the command over here. Okay, don't use this because this will override the changes, and that is not a best way to manage system. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I want to see the list. So obviously I'll go with knife. Sorry, knife cookbook list. You can try complete writing your own, but chef has not done. So we have three cookbooks, and these are all the versions. And if you want to know further about this cookbook, you can use some more options. Right? I am not getting into all of this. Right? So you wanted command line, right? So you need to at least understand that there is some trouble around it. Okay. Fine. Okay. Whatever it is. Now let me quickly create some cookbooks so that we have some changes and with some versions. Right? I'll be uh, CD cookbooks, and I'll be generating three cookbooks. Chef, generate cookbook, web server. Do we have any cookbook called as web server by any chance? No, right? Good. So, and after that, I'll create one more cookbook called as DB server. It might not have too much of content, but we will get to add those things also, because before we add these contents, we'll go to the supermarket. But for now, my focus is demonstrating how environments and roles work, right? So that's why I'm not really worried. And after that, I'll be creating one more cookbook called as DB server. So I'm going with an environment where we have some dummy cookbooks called as web server and DB server, right? And we'll have two environments, two or three. You can make it three also. It will work anyway, right? So I'm creating one more stuff which I call it as DB server. For now, they might not be functional because we are not writing any fancy stuff. I'll be executing very simple statements over there, right? Okay, while it is doing its job, let us prepare cookbooks. What was it? Web server, right? Let me open Visual Studio Code. Okay. Let me go to the recipes, default.recipes. All right. And over here, I'll execute package get action install. That's it. This is what I have. Okay. I'm installing package get, and I'm changing my version to 1.0. Yes, and then just write qt. Simple. Yeah. And since my other terminal is occupied, let me open the terminal over here and then execute this cookbook from here itself. Right? This is a PowerShell terminal. Right? So what I'll be doing is I'll be just saying works upload. So I'm uploading my first cookbook version, which is web server. It is not doing any web server jobs. I know that. Right? It is just installing Git. Okay. Okay. So it is saying I'm unable to find the logs file. We know that if it is not found, we have to execute something called as works install. Even if you execute knife commands or kitchen commands, the log file will be updated. It's okay. We do works as install and then we do works upload. Yeah. क्या ये कैसे खोला है क्या गूगल में पढ़ लो इतना तो गूगल कर सकते हो control shift p, that's a command. If you use control shift p, you will get this, and from here you can search. Yeah. Okay. And I'm doing works upload. కొన్ని కొన్నిసార్లు తప్పదండి. I have to give difficult answers. If I'm if for the people who don't believe whether my difficult answers are right or wrong, just look at issues page today. Today I was very more than happy to see an error which says that my kitchen convergence is failing because it says instance profile is not found. Now you get an error which is one level deeper. Even for the person who is basically running that issue, he comes to know that okay, there is something wrong with the instance profile, and he tries to at least learn what that instance profile is. But if you raise an error saying that kitchen EC2 failing, it will not lead you to anything. Okay, now let me make one more change over here. In the second package, what I'll try to do is I'll try to add one more package over here, and I'll try to install something called as nano. Or let me not do nano, let me install tree. Let me install something useful. So first version will install only Git, second version will install nano along with Git. Okay. So I go to the metadata, I change this version to 2.0. Simple. And now I do works upload. Let it just say it is finished. I'll close this Visual Studio Code, launch the new one for DB server. Yeah, it has done. Now I'll go to the DB server, open Visual Studio Code over here. I'll go to the default.rb. I'm using default.rb itself. If you want, you can add more files and do the stuff in there. I'm not doing that. So let me try to create a file. Okay, in the path which is home slash Ubuntu slash test.txt, and the content of it was first version. Simple. I've just created a file. Okay, and apart from that, I will execute a command. Okay, what is this execute command? When we should use execute command? Whenever you are trying to find a resource and you don't find anything, and you have to execute raw Linux statements. That's the point where you execute this. So execute name of the command, something like testing. Okay, and I basically say cat home. Okay, sorry, Ubuntu test.txt. Simple. Okay. Now my metadata.version, I'll make it to 1.0.0. I'm not changing others. It's okay. Now we know the part, right? Control Shift P, focus terminal, and we know what has to be done because it has scolded us earlier to do Burks install. Now I'll be executing Burks install first. Okay, good. And now I'll change this file. Okay, I'll change this from first version to second version. That's it. Very simple change. And for this change, I'm going to call this as version. Not a very difficult thing, but there are some changes from versions to versions. Did I upload? Chileda? Oh no. Over here also, I think I have to. Yeah. Sometimes in a rush, you forget basic things. Okay. Now we know what is the change. Yeah. So this is my second change. And okay. Don't ask me why I'm making these foolish changes. Okay, but there are some changes we have discussed about the scenario. The change which I am doing might be really a silly or a stupid change, but for you that is a change which your architecture is asking for, right? Now I'll create two environments, right? Dev environment and QA environment. Very simple, two environments. And then I will have two roles: web server role and a DB server role. For a web server role, I need to include a run list should be include whatever is required to make it a web server. For a DB server, the role means include anything that makes it a DB server. And environments, I'll put restrictions, right? Before I start all of this, let us get into our Chef repo. In Chef repo, are you seeing anything called as roles? There's already some introduction over here. It says that you have roles, right? And there is something called as starter.rb. And he tries to tell you that my role's name is starter. And the description which I'm trying to write is whatever is the description. And run list of this is yes. Now, can I create the same thing with another RB file or for two roles, which is webserver.rb and dbserver.rb, and make changes so that it will match my needs? Is it very difficult work to be done? No, right? Okay. So these files cannot be generated. You have to copy and paste them. These files there is no way to generate. All right. So what I'll do is I'll copy this file and I'll make it as webserver.rb. This will be my web server role, and then dbserver.rb. And let me edit my dbserver.rb. In dbserver, my name of the role is db server, right? And I'm just saying that it is db server. If you want to change any attributes, you can write the attributes. So that attributes are override underscore attributes, default underscore attributes, right? Whatever attributes which you can change. You can write about override underscore attributes, default underscore attributes, and normal underscore attributes. Because if you have looked at the table, there are three possibilities which you can write for an environment. So still fine. Now, what I'll try to do is my recipe is no longer starter. What is my recipe? DB server. If you want to be explicit, you can write All right. But let me write it as DB server itself, because we know that whenever we do DB server, that will be hit. Is it very difficult to do the stuff? Simple? Yeah. And now I'll edit this and I'll call this as name is web server and recipe is, we have created a recipe run list which is recipe, and if you want to add multiple things you can put comma and continue. As of now I have only one item in my run list, but actually you might have many. It is okay, right? So it is a web server. Simple? Yeah. And you can put as many items in this run list as you want. And if you can include the other role also. So for example, let us assume that there is a role called as a common role and you want to include that in a run list. Then the syntax would sound something like role of common. So whenever you write this, what happens is in the run list, you are referring to another role that might have its own run list. Right? You can have any of these combinations. But as of now, in my scenario, I'm just having. Is this fine? I change these files, and the next thing which I need to do is I need to upload these files to my server. Okay. So I am dealing with roles. So knife, role, hyphen, hyphen, help. We have looked into this procedure already. There is some question by the time chef answers me. Yeah. Thanks, Ramkoti, for that. Okay. So there is something called as knife roll, bulk delete, knife roll, create, knife roll, delete, knife roll, edit, and all of that. But editing the roles from command line, please don't do that, because you don't have versions. Write a file, make the changes in the file, store that file with a version in your Git repository, because any change in your environment or a role file you are tracking. So that's why I would recommend the best practice of using a file. But are you seeing something called as knife roll from file? Yes. Okay. That is what I'll be doing. Okay. And you can use command lines to make all of your changes in your environments or roles and all of that. But that is not a good way. Always try to write a file, because it can be version controlled. File unte మీ దగ్గర రికార్డ్ ఉంటుంది. Command line execute చేస్తే రికార్డ్ ఉండదు. If you execute from a command line or if you change it in the UI, you will not have a record of for the change. But whenever you have a file, you make a change in the file. Whenever you put it in a version control system, you will have a version, first version, second version, third version, and you can look after all the changes which you have done. All right. So I'll be executing this. What does it command say? Knife roll from file and give the path of the file. Okay. So let me come to my path. So I think we are writing this from a folder which is roles, right? Yeah. So I'll be executing something like knife roll from file and dbserver.rb. If you don't want to do all of this, you can use UI, right? But I recommend this is not very difficult. What is that we have done? We have done very simple job. I just copy pasted files and change the run list. Yeah. Okay, uploaded, right? And now the other thing which I want to upload is web server. Now what I'll do is I'll log in into the chef server and then I will look at it in the UI. From here you can always query knife role list will tell you what are the roles that are available. But I want to see it in the UI, and then we'll verify whether the roles are popping up or not. After we are done with these roles, let us create environments, and then we will bootstrap 4 machines, 2 Ubuntu and 2 Red Hat machines, and then let us apply some stuff. Wonderful. So I'll go into my website, manage.chef.io. Get into this policy, and in policies, what is that we have uploaded? Roles. And are you seeing this role? Right? And in this role, if you see, the run list says that you are included something called as, right? If you want, you can edit the changes over here also. Okay, but I am not going to do that. Okay, from here you can manage anything, edit run list, right? If you want to add some attributes over here, you can add attributes. As of now, there is only one attribute which you have by default carried away, which is called as author name, but that's fine, whatever it is. So are we clear on this? Right? Uploading roles, will it be a difficult job? I don't think so. Right? It is quite simple. Yeah. Okay. Now, what will role have? Role is nothing but a run list. Role is nothing but a run list. In role, can I include another role? Yes. For that, the syntax is role of roles name. Yeah. Okay. Now, we are not done yet. I need to worry about environments. Now, let us look at what is the environment. Okay. Fine. And by the way, roles which we have written right now, we have used the RB file. There is another way of writing that role file, which is a JSON file. Right? I find RB simpler, so that's why I've used RB. If you want to use a JSON way of creating, then also it's the same. The contents might differ. How you write the structure might differ. All right? Okay. Now, in a chef repo, for roles we had a folder called as roles. For environments, we'll have a folder called as environments. It will not be there, and we have to simple. And over here also you can write JSON files or RB files, anything that makes sense to you. All right. Let me go into the environments over. Okay. Environment can be written in a Ruby or a JSON format. You can use anything that makes sense to you. All right. So whenever you are writing an environment, you will have the following formats: cookbook, cookbook versions, default attributes, description, name, override attributes. All right. And the structure might somewhat sound like it. Okay. Now let us look at what are these things before getting into it. Okay. So whenever you write some statement like this, cookbook, couchdb, less than 11.0.0. In this case, what you're trying to tell is, in this, whenever the environment is this, whenever someone tries to apply the couchdb cookbook, I will always pick up any version which is less than 11.0. So there is no chance that this environment is going to pick up anything greater than 11.0. That is a restriction. And now, here, in the same way, less. So he's writing the same thing, but he's writing it in different approaches, right? And now let me come back over here. Are you seeing this? This I have spoken about, if you remember. This is called as pessimistic versioning. So in this case, what you are saying, trying to tell is, I'm okay with taking my Rails app with any version which is 1.2.x. If it is 1.2.0, it will take 1.2.1, it will take 1.2.2, it will take. But if someone uploads a version 1.3, it will not take. Right? That is a pessimistic version. The one which you see over here is equals. Here you are trying to tell that I will use only 11. I will not take 11.0.1, or neither I will take 10. Something. I am looking out for versions. So in cookbooks, what is that we end up writing? We end up writing restrictions. Right? And you put restrictions by using cookbook statement or a cookbook underscore version statements. And apart from that, we have looked into saying that there are four places where we can define attributes, right? So if you want to define default attributes, you can use that section. And if you want to define the override attributes, you can use the other section only. So these are all the sections. And to be very specific, in the recipe, we had sections like name, or in the role, we had sections like name, description, run list, override attributes, and you also have one more section over here which is called as default underscore attributes. These are the sections for defining a role. For defining a environment, your sections are somewhat these. Am I clear? And he has given you one sample stuff which looks like this. So name, environment, description, this. You can either use cookbook or cookbook versions, and then you can define your attributes. Not a very difficult thing to be done, right? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Let me basically take this and go to the file over here. Cd dot dot slash environments. Okay. Fine. And now I want to create a new file. All right. New file is touch or whatever it is. But if you want to do it in a Windows style, it is new item. All right. And what is the file which I want? Oh, messed up. The first thing which I want to create is new item dev.rb. Do we have any file created dev.rb? Yes. Edit this file and paste this down. I am not interested in this override attributes. If I want, I will override the attributes. But as of now, I have only one cookbook, so I'm okay with using that version. But if I have more than one cookbook, then I have to use cookbook underscore versions, right? Or you can write this cookbook again and again. Cookbook is not a single time stuff. For example, I can write cookbook nginx and exactly copy the statement again and write about one more cookbook. You can use anything that matters to you, right? And now I'm trying to tell that I'm going to use an environment which is dev environment. Yeah. And in here, I have a restriction for what is the cookbooks which we have written. What are the cookbooks? Web server and DB server, right? So dev environment, I'll say that web server is, let me write it first. Let me write the same versions, equals to 1.0. Simple. Yeah. And I have one more thing which I can do. For that, I can go into the documentation over here. Okay. Where it says you can write cookbook or cookbook versions. So, for example, I can use this. So for me, I think this is a better choice, right? Rather than copying and pasting everything, because I have to write about two cookbooks. All right. Yeah. Let me take this. So equals to 1.0.0 and DB server is also equals to 1.0.0 and I'm not interested in this line. Simple. So it is 1.2. I'll correct it. Yeah. Now I'll copy the same content and I'll create one more file which is called as qa.rb. Yeah. I will edit this file. I'll paste the same content and I'll have something called as Q. All right. Even environment, much like role, you can create the environment from command line, right? You can change it in the UI, but we have written a file, right? For uploading the role, what was my command? Knife role from file. Here I will be using a command which is knife environment from file. That's it. If you want, you can Google knife environment hyphen help and you will find the command line. So knife environment from file. My first environment is dev.rb. Okay, and then one more stuff which is QA dot. So I have two environments uploaded and two roles uploaded. In the environments, my focus was on putting restrictions on cookbook versions, and in the roles, my focus was on uploading or deciding what is the run list. Yeah. Okay. Now let it say just uploaded, so that we'll go back to the UI and then cross check about these environments. So now you have to refresh them. Are using environments, and now are using three environments. One will be by default, that is underscore default, right? And you have something called as dev and QA. And if you are seeing over here, you are seeing restrictions, whatever we have written, right? You are seeing the restriction, something like whatever you have put. You have put a restriction saying that web server is this, and come over here. This is exactly what we wanted, right? Yeah. Now let us quickly bootstrap. So for that, I'll be logging into my AWS account. I'll be creating 4 machines, 2 Red Hat and 2 Ubuntu machines. Red Hat will be my web servers and Ubuntu will be my DB servers for this example. Yeah. So any region is fine. Yeah. Let me open it in Mumbai. Okay. So do I have any key pairs by any chance? Test kitchen Mumbai. I don't think so. Let me create a key pair. So let me create a key pair called as chef. I have chef.pem in my downloads file. Okay, good. So launch instance. And the machine which I want to create is, man, what is that? Launch instance. Better search it over here. Red Hat 7. Okay. And then I'll use T2 micro and I will tell that I'm interested in 2 machines. Man, let me come out of this region because I'll have some limits over here. It will not work out anyway. Okay. So I don't have a limit over here to create 4 or 6 machines, but in Oregon I have it. So that's why I'm removing it. Okay. For the people who didn't understood, whenever we create a AWS account, you will have a limit saying that you can create these many machines only, right? I have upper limits in the Oregon region, but not in the Mumbai region. In Mumbai, when I try to create 4, it will fail saying that you don't have permissions to create 4, right? For that, I have to raise a support ticket. But over here, I shouldn't have any problem. Launch instance, Red Hat, and let me choose 2 machines. If you want, you can use CentOS 7, whatever flavors which you want. Next, and I'll be calling them as web servers, just for my reference. These nodes are web servers for me, and I think we have a group which we have already created, which is stuff. Launch. I'll be creating a new key pair. I don't have the existing key pairs. I've deleted all of them. So I'll be calling it as chef node. That is my key pair's name. Launch instances. So 2 Red Hats are in progress. Okay. And in the meantime, I'll launch and I'll search for Ubuntu 16. You can use 18 also if you want, because we have not written wonderful stuff to not to work over there, but it's okay. Next, and you put 2 instances over here. Okay, just for the convention, I'll be putting them as DB. So for me to understand, that's it. Next, and I'll select the existing key, which was chef node. Yeah, launch. launch, and chef node is my key value pair. Okay. Now let me go to this. I have 4 nodes and I have to bootstrap them. And we know the drill. Yeah. Knife, node or knife bootstrap, right? Name of the node. Yeah, you might have done it, right? But unfortunately, I forgot. Help me out in building that command line. Yeah. Okay. Let me see what is the question which we have. Yeah, red space hat. Yes. Okay. So I have 4 machines, right? And let us see how does it go. The first thing which I want to do is, since I'm bootstrapping from this, as a safety measure not to mess up again, I'll go to my C drive, DevOps, chef, not chef zone, chef starter kit, and I'll put my node.pem file over here, because even if I mess up the downloads, I still have one copy around it. That is what I have missed. Right? Generally, I do this, but I'm not sure. Now, what is the command which we use? Knife, bootstrap. In the last class, you might have remembered that command, but now, can I use this? Knife bootstrap hyphen hyphen help, and then I'll come to know what does the command look like. Okay. The username for DB servers, if you go into that, is Ubuntu machine, so the username is Ubuntu. For the Red Hat machine, the username default username is ec2-user. So you have to remember that when you are bootstrapping. Okay. So we have too many arguments. Knife, you can use more. Knife bootstrap, FQDN, and then there are some options. Okay. Knife, bootstrap, and it is always a good idea to give a bootstrap based on their public DNS names, right? Right? But if your chef server is inside the AWS itself, better work with private addresses. If your chef server is inside Amazon itself, try to use private addresses, not public as much as possible. Okay, that's the first thing. And what are the other things which I need to pass? I forgot. I said as I have not done bootstrap. మీరు కొత్తగా చేసి ఉంటారు, నేను చేసి 2 వారాలు అవుతుంది. Now what are the other things which I need to give? Remembering. Great. I will not do that nonsense. So knife, bootstrap, node, get into the chef's documentation. Okay. And let us see the stuff. No, he has not given me too much. Okay, whatever it is. Knife bootstrap, and then we have -x. And what is this machine, by the way, which I have selected? Web server. Web server is Red Hat machine. So my username is ec2-user, and then hyphen hyphen identity, and identity is whatever file which we have, and then I have to give sudo privileges, right? Any other thing? Pardon me? Hyphen node, is it? And name of the node which you want to call it. Okay. So name of the node, I'll try to give it the private DNS name of, yeah. Is it hyphen node or hyphen hyphen node? Yeah. Okay. Because you will not have hyphen and full name generally in the Linux world. Okay. Fine. So is this okay? Yeah. Okay. Even if it fails, we are okay, because we'll delete that node whichever has been added and we'll do our stuff. Sigya ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿ fail ಹೋದ್ ಅಂತೆಗೆ. Or else you can give hyphen hyphen SSH user and then identity. That might be a better option, right? Rather than using shortcuts if we don't remember. That's fine. Yeah, it seems to be working. Good. Okay. And one more thing is generally as a best practice. Okay. Whenever you set this knife bootstrap command, okay, knife bootstrap hyphen hyphen help command also will have something called as hyphen hyphen environment. So while bootstrapping itself, you can set the environment. While you are passing that command, you can use hyphen hyphen environment and tell them whether it is a dev environment or a QA environment. But we will do it at a later point of time. But whenever you are doing officially, it is better that while bootstrapping itself, you tell the environment, because now if you go into the chef manage and get into the nodes, right? By default, the environment is, so while bootstrapping itself, you can tell that my environment is not default, it is dev or QA. You can do that if you want. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and now our stuff is not done. We have to do this drill again. Okay, so I'll be taking one more web server. Let me finish off web servers. So yeah, rest of the thing seems to be same apart from the DNS name. That is public DNS name, or you can give public IP address if you want, but I prefer DNS names. All right. Okay. Okay, good. The third node is a DB server. All right. So for the DB server, let me start with this. Okay. I have to change the username also, right? My DB servers are Ubuntu machines. So probably the username is Ubuntu. And then I have to change my name of the node, right? Name of the node, it is not mandatory to give the host names, but it is the best practice. You can give any name which you want. You can give web server 1, web server 2, and all of that stuff. But generally, it works out better when you give DNS names all the way around. So node name in the case of AWS will be your private DNS name. FQDN will be your public DNS name. But that will be in the case when your chef server is outside, right? But very soon we'll be installing our own chef server. Then the bootstrap FQDN will be private DNS, and the node name also will be the private DNS. Since now they are not in the same network, I am giving a public DNS name. Yeah, fine. Yes. Okay. And now one more change. That is for one more DB server over here. Okay. Node name, and then bootstrap. Any of these commands can be executed with by increasing the log level. You can make it log level as debug for almost every knife command which is available. All right. So we have bootstrapped 4 nodes. Yeah, it is simple. We know how to do it, but it is still painful. All right. So we'll see if there is any way to solve this. Yeah. All of my nodes are in which environment now? Default environment, which is underscore default. Now I want to change it. So for that you can use knife environment node set and all of that. But I'll be doing it from the UI. If you want, you can do it from the CLI because we know how to do it. Knife environment hyphen hyphen help. Just use that command. Or knife node hyphen hyphen help. You have 2 ways of setting that. Right? Okay. Good. Now I'll go over here and then let me refresh this. Okay. The first red hat, the first environment for me would be dev environment. See. The first Ubuntu, again dev. Second red hat, QA, right? And second Ubuntu, right? And let me refresh this page. Things don't refresh. Okay. Now is it okay? So you should have 2 Ubuntu machines, one in QA and one in dev, right? And 2 Red Hat machines, one in QA and one in. Okay. Now run list also you can change by knife node command, but I am doing UI. If you want, you can set it from the command line. Knife node hyphen hyphen help. Okay. So what will be my run list for Ubuntu? It is a database machine. So I'll come down and I will try to tell that edit. Are you seeing roles? And Ubuntu machine is a DB server. So directly add a role. You need not worry about recipes anymore. So what is that you are adding to the run list? Directly the role. You are not adding any recipes. And if you want to make any changes to the run list, you will change it in the roles, not in the list over here. Okay. So Ubuntu machine is a DB server, and again Ubuntu machine, it is DB server. Red Hat machine, web server. Yes. Okay, good. Fine. Now you refresh the whole page. You'll be able to see the changes after that. See, this UI is not that friendly, not that fancy UI and all of that. You can see some stuff. Now, shall we log in into every machine and execute sudo chef client? Yeah. So let me go over here. So web server, connect. I have my PEM file over here, so I'm using the same thing. Git bash here. Before writing this cookbook, we will do the general routine. My cookbook is already tested in kitchen. We know that it will work. That's how it is going to be. And now sudo chef hyphen. I just said git install, right? And that is the first version of a cookbook. And second version of a cookbook installs tree also. Right. Done? Yes. Okay. Now let me do it at a Red Hat level itself, and then I'll go to the Ubuntu machine and do the drill. So what is my second Red Hat machine over here? Another web server. Click on connect. Okay. Now sudo chef hyphen client. Simple. Better than adding recipes and run list. So I am executing this command because I cannot wait half an hour. Right? Okay. Okay, good. Now what we'll do is your architect has come and said to you that your environments need a change. Your environment has to be changed, right? You can upload actually the new version. Change your dev.rb file in your environment and then upload the version. But to save time, I'm doing it over here. That is that okay? Or do you want me to let me do it from here itself? It's not a very big deal. So what is that we have? Dev.rb, right? Here. And what is that we are uploading? Web server. I'll put the version equals to. So now what is that you are trying to do is yesterday remember we have done on Tomcat 7. Your architect comes and tells you that you have to work on Tomcat 9, but it has to be appealing only on which environment? Dev environment. So I have written a new cookbook and I know that this cookbook has to be uploaded only to the dev environment. So I have came to the dev environment, make the change over there, and I've said that in the case of dev environments, cookbook version should not be 1.0.0. It can you can write equals to 2.0.0 or greater than 1.0.0. Any mathematical expression that fits whatever you want to do. So I would prefer to write greater than or something like this. Whatever that makes sense. But for now, since I have only two versions, it's okay. So I'll put it as 2.0.0. And then I can safely come over here and then say knife environment from file environments slash develop. You can do this or go to that place, click on edit and make the changes to the version. Anything is fine. If you want to do it from command line, this is the way. It is also not difficult. We should get that it is uploaded and then we'll log in into two machines and execute sudo chef client. In one machine, tree should be installed. In other machine, tree should not be installed. That's the whole point. Right? Now, let me execute sudo chef client. Yeah. Okay, good. Let me get into the other machine. And execute sudo chef client. Did you got 2.0.0 here? Yeah. Our change which you have done is impacting only to the dev environments. Is that fine? Yeah. Now the thing which I have to do is I have to do the same drill on the other two machines, which I am not going to do because you have understood the conceptually what it is, right? So this is why we use environments and roles and attributes. Environments save us from accidental uploads of cookbooks and applying them, right? And in production, remember whenever you are putting restrictions, always put restrictions on equals. Don't go with greater than, less than, and these kind of stuff. For dev and QA environments, it is your choice because they are okay. Even if your dev environment is not working, no customer will really worry about it. But production environments, for all of your prod environments, don't use any other symbol apart from equals because you don't want unnecessary cookbook uploads to impact your life. Am I clear on this? Right? So, is this concept clear now? Attribute precedence and then basically roles and then environment. Okay, looking good? Okay, fine. So I'm not doing the Ubuntu world. Do you want me to execute it? Because it will be the same drill. I'll be going and changing the dev dot. First, I'll be uploading or I'll be changing the run list, and then I'll be executing sudo chef client and all of that. I don't want to get into that. You can execute this because you have understood what we are trying to do. Okay, good. So is this concept clear? why we use environments, and why we use roles, and how do we do them. Fine. Okay. Now let me speak about something called as supermarket. What is it? So why do we go to supermarket generally? To buy something which is existing rather than making it your home. Yes. So there are many cookbooks which are written by someone else, right? Whenever you want to do classic actions, why do you want to do the headache of really doing all of the stuff on your own? Better take it from someone else. That's the whole idea of this supermarket, right? Supermarket has chef. Supermarket is a whole collection of cookbooks which you can use rather than writing, rather than developing on your own. Okay. And it is sometimes these cookbooks work in such a way that you have to include them in your run list. So for example, if you want to use that cookbook, he will try to tell you that use this cookbook, right? If you want to use this cookbook, just add it to the run list. I'll install whatever you want, right? So the other way is these cookbooks will have custom resources. We know what are resources: package, execute, right? So that the guy whose cookbook we are using, he might have written his own custom resources, and you might need to use them. So cookbooks are generally used in two broader ways. One is just include them in the run list, or you need to use resources. For example, some of the cookbooks might tell that if you want to install Java, okay, just include my default in your run list. So what you will do is you will go into your node and you will include that in your run list. Stuff done. The second scenario is he will tell that you can, including will not do anything, because if you want to install Java, I have written my own resource. That resource is something like Java underscore install. This is the resource's name. Name of the package. If you remember, I'm just using like how we use package, right? Java underscore install. My Java, right? Something like this. Do, and it might have a property saying that version. So version which I want to install is 8 or something like that. And then you might have something like action install. So these are the two possibilities. One is including in the run list. Second thing is the other person's cookbook whom we are using, he might not have written anything in the cookbooks. He might have developed custom resources. Custom resources, we can use that custom resources in our script. Is this clear? Okay. And now, basically, when we go to the supermarket, we get cookbooks, and we want to use that cookbook. And whenever you want to use that cookbook, you have to tell inside your cookbook that you are using that. Am I clear on this? So you have written a cookbook called as web server now, and you want to install Apache. One way is write in Apache installation on your own, or the other thing is go to the supermarket, find a cookbook, and then use it in your cookbook. So whenever you are using some external cookbook in your cookbook, you have to tell that you are depending on that. Okay. So because let us assume that you are writing a cookbook A, and you depend on cookbook B. Similarly, that cookbook while developing might have depended on C, right? There is no guarantee. And C might have depended on D. So whenever you want A to work, you have to install B, C, and D. That is the trouble with this approach. The problem with this approach is you are not really looking into what B is relying on. You want B. So you say that I want B itself. But B to work might require C. And C to work might require D, and D to work might require E. So what I'm trying to tell is whenever you want to run A, you need B, C, D, E, or all other dependencies which B is dependent. So you have to download all of these dependencies. Yes. And previously people used to do this manually. Yes. Do you remember a command which we execute all the time? Burks install. Right? Burks install is used to download the cookbooks from the chef server and all of its dependencies. Till now we were not worrying about why do we use Burks install. And if you remember, when we discussed when few days ago someone had asked me why we use Burks install. The reason why we use Burks install is whenever you take any cookbook, right, and you use Burks install, it will download that cookbook and also its dependencies. So supermarket, you have gone, you have chosen that I want to use that cookbook, and whenever you basically try to tell that I'm going to use Burks install, it will not only download the cookbook which you are depending on, it will also download its dependencies, right? So for example, if this is the case, and if I execute Burks install, what will happen is it will install B, C, and D into your system, right? There is also knife way, but knife will install only B. Okay, so what is better, knife or Burks? That's the reason why we use Burks. So Burks Shelf is a dependency manager for Chef, right? But for the dependency manager to know that you are using B, there is a specific structure how you need to write it. Okay, so first let us not worry about all of this stuff. What has to be done? Let me go into the supermarket first. So I'll basically Google for something called as Chef. Go over here, and there are many stuff which you can explore. Okay, now what we'll do? What shall we install? Shall we install Java? Yeah, or let me take something simple. What shall we do? Anything now. Let me take Tomcat. I'll search for Tomcat. Sorry, finding a cookbook. You find many cookbooks, not one. You find many, right? And whenever you are looking at these cookbooks, if there is a cookbook which is developed from Chef, are you seeing this logo over here? Blindly try to take it, because the cookbook which is from Chef is better. Yeah, you want to install Java. So what is that you do? You search for something called as Java. So it tries to tell that you have the following cookbooks. Here you are not seeing Chef, but you see many cookbooks. Try to see which cookbook has many followers or which cookbook has been recently updated. So this is a cookbook which is written by someone else, right? So that's the reason around it. And if you see, there are some supported platforms. Okay. Now let me get into this Java cookbook. And now over here, are you seeing this view source? If you click on this view source, it will take you to the GitHub page of how this guy has written. And if you see, he has his own metadata.rb file. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing the support statement? Yeah. Whenever you write a cookbook, you write a cookbook saying that I am writing this cookbook which will work on Ubuntu, which will work on Red Hat and all of that, right? So it is always a good idea whenever you write your own cookbook, go into your metadata.rb and let us assume that this cookbook is supposed to work on Red Hat. Basically write a statement saying that supports, right? Remember, we have spoken about this already. If it is not supporting, we will raise an error, and you would say that supports Ubuntu. So which means what you're trying to tell us, this cookbook is supposed to be executed only on two environments, which is Red Hat and. Am I clear on this? Right? So that is what this guy also does. That is what you see over here. Okay. Whenever you search for this, okay, I think whenever you search for this stuff, are you seeing these platforms? So it supports all of these environments. All right. And now get into this cookbook. And the way to use a cookbook, first thing is, if you want to use this cookbook, are you seeing this stuff over here? Yeah. Copy this stuff, get into your own cookbook, right? And try to write a statement saying depends and copy this as well. So this is your way of telling that I am going to depend on a cookbook which is Java, and I am okay with taking any versions which is 3.1.x. But if you want 3.1.1, make it equals. Don't write this pessimistic equal symbol. Am I clear on this? Right? So you are depending on a Java cookbook, right? This is how you write it. Whatever cookbooks versions which you want, right? Now, let us see what happens. I want to do this over here, Okay, let me get into CD cookbooks, and then what was this cookbook? DB server, if I'm not wrong. Okay, and let me do Burks install. Did I saved it? I think it is auto save enabled. Let us see. Is it downloading something? Yes. All these days we were not worrying about this. We have not seen anything. Yeah, it has messed up. Already defined and all of that. What is it? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me go into the default place where it downloads is your home directory, C drive, users, Qt, and you will have Workshelf over here and books. Right. So let me go ahead and delete all of this now. Because last time when I have uninstalled ChefDK, it might not have removed the stuff. Let me execute Burks install again. So installing is nothing but downloading a cookbook from that to the location which is in your home directory and .Burkshelf folder. Yeah, that is what it calls as installation. Okay, something is not right in this cookbook. Okay, whatever it is. So are you seeing the stuff? Whenever we add the cookbook, Burkshelf is trying to download it. Let me add one more dependency. Okay, so I'll go over here. We have seen one more cookbook, right? Before this, not Java. Let us assume that I want to install Tomcat, right? So let us get used to this terminology. If I want to use Tomcat, you have to, what is that you have to do? You have to copy this. Yeah. Come over to your stuff and you need to make a statement which says depends and copy this. All right. So this I'm not sure. I've not used this cookbook, so let me just comment it. Okay. You make the changes, save your file, and then just say Burks. If you use knife upload, right? Knife cookbook upload and Burks cookbook upload. Knife upload will not upload dependencies. Burks upload will not only upload your cookbook, it will also upload the dependencies of your. That's the whole reason why we don't use knife cookbook upload or something like that. We use Burks always. Right? So we got something right. Now what I'll do is I'll change this version to 2.0.1, something like this. Right? And let me do Burks upload. See what happens. It not only will upload your cookbook, but apart from that, it will also upload whatever the dependencies which you had. So the dependency which you had is Tomcat. So it uploads 2.0.1 of your DB server and it uploads the Tomcat. This is how you make the things work. We still have not seen how to install Tomcat, but we have seen how to add a dependency and how to upload dependencies. Yes or no? Yes. So finding something from cookbook, and if you know that it is the right cookbook, how do you include in your cookbook? Are we clear on that? If you see it is uploading Tomcat, right? First, yes. If you use knife cookbook upload, these things don't happen. You have to upload them separately. You have to go into that and you have to say the knife cookbook upload, and then you have to upload Tomcat, which is nonsense. That's the whole reason why you use Burkshelf, right? Okay. Now, coming to the interesting aspect, how to use a cookbook. There is no shortcut, unfortunately. Every cookbook's way, how to use it is depending on the documentation which you are going to see in the bottom. Are you seeing over here? It says that if you can use this cookbook on following platforms. You can use this on Debian, you can use it on Red Hat and its derivatives, and you can use it on Fedora, and you can use it on OpenSUSE. This is what it says. And now, if you want to use this cookbook, you have to write something like, there is a custom resource called as Tomcat underscore install. And that cookbook will take this the following stuff. It will take version, right? And install path. And if you don't give the install path, it will be opt Tomcat underscore default instance name and tarball underscore base underscore URI. So this is the place where it will try to install Tomcat from. If you want to install Tomcat from other source, you can use that source or else leave it to default. So if you look over here, I have to read through the documentation just like how I used to read the package when I was starting on Chef. So to work on package, I would used to look at the package syntax and I used to read on everything, right? So here that's the same story. And now here he gives one example. Okay. And whenever you want to look at it, right, he tries to tell that whenever you run it, basically the default username is tomcat underscore whatever instance name which you have, right? So you can pass all of these properties and then you will get Tomcat install, right? And this Tomcat service, whenever you want to start or change the service, the name of the service will be your Tomcat underscore hello world. That's the name of your instance, right? So let us see what he tries to tell. Tomcat service, you have to give the same service and then use the action start, because Tomcat service, all the default Tomcat instances name will be Tomcat 7 or Tomcat 8, something like that. But whenever you are using this cookbook, it will give something like Tomcat 8 underscore whatever name which you have given. So in this case, the services name could be Tomcat 7 or 8 underscore hello world, right? That is how did I found it out? Just because I read documentation. ఆ డాక్యుమెంటేషన్ చదవకపోతే ఇలా ఎందుకు చేశారో మనకు తెలియదు. You are using someone else's work, so you have to follow it to the correctly. Don't bring in your understanding over here. Blindly read all of this documentation. There is no other way. నాకు ఇది నచ్చలేదు అలాంటప్పుడు మీరే రాసుకోండి. మనం వాడుకుంటుంది వేరే వాడి ప్రాపర్టీ, అది మీకు నచ్చేలా ఎందుకు ఉంటుంది? వాడికి నచ్చినట్టు వాడు రాసుకొని ఉంటాడు. If you don't like that, there is already a GitHub location over there where there is a complete code. Take that and implement it yourself. Am I clear on this? So whenever the only way to succeed in cookbooks from supermarket is reading their documentation and trying to execute it based out of their documentation. Don't bring in your understanding over here. If you don't like that, take their implementation, write your own cookbook. Am I clear on this? Yeah. So if I want to use this cookbook, what is that I should use? I'll basically use something like Tomcat this is a Red Hat machine, right? I have to write this in DB is Ubuntu. Yeah, it's okay. Tomcat underscore hello world and then Tomcat underscore service. I don't want any environmental variables. That's it. This will install Tomcat because you have not done the work. The work is done by someone who have written that book. Are you seeing this? In this case, the only way for you to use the cookbook is don't make assumptions. Have a patience to read through the documentation. So let me show you something different now. Okay. So we have looked into the Java, right? Before Tomcat. Now let me look into some other cookbook, which is, I'll call it as Java. Every cookbook's implementation need not be necessarily same. So I go into this cookbook. I'm not really interested in how they have written and all of that stuff. If you scroll down, if you want to use this cookbook, he tries to tell that, okay, just see, by adding Java SC to the run list of your cookbook, and then you have to define some variables. You have to define some variables. So what is that you are trying to do? You will try to tell that depends Java SC, and then you have to add this Java SC to the run list, and you need to define the attributes. You need to define these attributes. So basically, if you look at these attributes, he tries to tell that if you want to install Java SC from a specific URI, you can give that, or else what is basically the Java home, what is the other stuff there, because every cookbook has its own implementation. Because tomorrow, if you write your cookbooks, you might put your own variables, right? So for example, if you remember, whenever you are writing lamp stack, I have created an attribute called as package name. Now tomorrow, if I want to upload that cookbook to the Chef server, and then I will say that install any web server, that is what my cookbook is, then how will I write documentation? There is an attribute called as package name that has a default value called as Apache 2. Now if you want to install Nginx, change that value to the Nginx. How do you change that value? Use this attribute, and that is what this attribute is meant for. So the whole concept is, whenever you are using the supermarket cookbooks, you should read this. There is no other way out. Okay, am I clear on this? Yeah. So what we'll do is, in the next class we will install Java, we'll install Tomcat, and we'll do Game of Life, but this time using cookbooks, supermarket cookbooks, right? And basically supermarket cookbooks, that's what we I have looked into. But what I want you to also try is, take a kitchen, test kitchen, and try to install Node.js also. Try to see if there is any cookbook which speaks about Node. Are you seeing Node? Yes. Okay. And one exercise which I am giving to you guys before I close the classroom, and I will definitely have questions on this on Tuesday, not tomorrow. Right? Because the stuff which I am going to show you will be asked in every chef interview. Okay. Remember, what is the default convergence time? If I want to make it to 5 minutes, how do I do that? Yeah. I want to run 10 nodes with the same time of convergence. How is it possible? Right. So let us just get into the first step towards it. Right. You cannot think of a chef interview without these questions. There is a supermarket cookbook called as Chef Hyphen Client. I don't want you to use this cookbook. I want you to read this cookbook. I'm not interested in you using this cookbook. No. Read the documentation over here. So what is the first attribute trying to tell? If you define and if you basically use this cookbook, include that in your run list. If you read the documentation, what it says is, and if you define an attribute which says default of chef client of interval is equal to 600, right? Default value is 1800. Put it as 600. Then the convergence happens every 10 minutes. Okay. I want you to read through this because this will have all the locations which you want. Right? What is the log file path? Right? In Chef, if there will be questions on saying that where can you find logs when something goes wrong? Are you seeing something like Chef client log directory and log file? Yes. How can I change the log rotation times? How much? So are you seeing something with respect to log rotations? Yeah. When I want to execute some of the chef clients on schedule, how can I do that? Are you seeing cron jobs? Right? Anything to do with node configuration, we are going to rely on this supermarket. And I want you to understand what are the things which you are looking at. So cron, you can set the mails also over here. Please go through all of these arguments, right? Because if you read these arguments over here, okay, he would try to just read this page. I'm not really interested in doing other stuff. If you read this, what happens is it will try to tell you how can you basically change the default behaviors of chef clients. How can I change 30 minutes behavior? Tomorrow in the interview, they might ask that I want to run chef with a client, but it has to run only once in a day. So how do you do that? I change the interval to 86,400, which is number of seconds in a day, right? Something like that. How can I ensure that all the nodes execute the task at this execute chef client at the same time? Are you seeing cron job? For all the nodes, give the same value. At 7 o'clock in the morning, everything will start bootstrapping. So for that reason, on till Tuesday, I'm not asking you today read it and all of that. I'm asking you tomorrow in some time, just go through this, because this will answer at least, you will get at least 2 to 3 questions in any interview on chef around this area. How do you change bootstrap time? How do you change default log location? How do you ensure that 100 nodes run some job exactly at the same time of the day? These are very frequently asked questions which you generally get in interviews and certifications. And basic answer for that is chef client supermarket cookbook, and it is written by chef. Right? Because chef wants to give you the easier way of doing all of this, so that's why they have published this cookbook. Right? And you can, in an interview, you can say that this is how we do it. And for the people who are interested on whenever we do this, what happens? Go and try to understand their cookbook. Get inside that cookbook and see what they are doing. Yeah. Okay. Now, any questions on whatever we have discussed there? We have, tomorrow we have all the 3 classes, right? So we have all the 3 classes for the next 2 days. I am planning to have on the Wednesday also all the 3 classes. I'm not sure, but let me see if I can get, I can skip the interview next week. Skip the meeting next week, not the interview. Yeah. Wednesdays I have that early hour meetings, right? I'll see if I can skip. Yeah. Okay. So when I install Burks, no Burks file or Burks log file is found at, what is it? Yes, when you install Burks, is it getting, or when you don't install Burks install and when you say Burks upload, are you getting this error? To my knowledge, you get this error whenever you don't execute Burks install and try to tell Burks upload. It will try to tell that there is a no lock file available over here. So that's why I'm unable to do that. So this error will come when you don't execute Burks install, not when you execute it. Right. When I install, strange, upload your cookbook, raise the issue, and Burks install. See how do you get the debug logs. There is no other way, whether you like it or not. That's the only way to find out the issue. Or what you can do is create a new cookbook and see whether it is happening in the same behavior or not. Yeah. Because whenever you do Burks install, a file is generated which is called as .burks for .log file. All right, and that log file will have some content, and whenever you are uploading the cookbook, Burks shelf uses that. Burks shelf uses that. That's the whole point.